Alexsa, I know that you and I have spoken in the past about you went through depression.
Yeah, I think I can only describe as you did, Jenny. It's like it was a dark place, very, very dark, and it's so weird to think about that right now because it just seemed unreal. I just became like someone who I'm not. Is you kind of lose sight of who you are, and that happened right after I split up from someone, after a breakup of a long-term relationship. And at the time I felt like I had lost myself. I didn't know who I was. But again, there was a lot of shame, and I just felt like it was very, very confusing season for me. I had to be out all the time. I couldn't be at home on my own, but it wasn't something that at the time I acknowledged. Was just the mechanism that I was finding, that whether it was to just go out for dinner or go out clubbing in the middle of the week, whether it's a Tuesday or Wednesday, I was just saying yes to anything and to anyone, just because I couldn't bear being at home. But at the same time, I then decided to go through counseling. Somehow I thought I lost myself. I don't know who I am. I just need to find out what is going on with me. I just need to reconnect with who I am. And I think a few things helped me then was, although I was feeling very ashamed, I thought I couldn't do that on my own because I was so low. But I didn't want to label that as depression. I just thought I was really low and I just want to have fun, but that was affecting my work. I was not performing at work. I was just hiding. I didn't have any joy, and that's so not me. That is so not me. But I think the hardest point for me was when I started having suicidal thoughts. And anything, because I had lost all the hope that I had. It just felt like my world had fallen apart and anything that I had in life was lost. I felt like I was nothing, I had nothing, and what is going on in life? What is the point of being here? So yeah, any family that I saw, any kids with parents would just remind me of what I didn't have. And that was really hard for me. I remember the moments that I would see people happy and I was like, I'm not them, I'm not there. And that was really hard. And I remember calling my mom and just being like, this is what's going on. And the thing is, I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to pick up my pieces. And my mom was like, you need to get help. I was like, no, I'm fine. And the counselor was saying to me the same, maybe you need to go and see a doctor. And I was still in denial because it's so hard. It was so hard for me to admit that I was that broken. Sure. And then I went to the GP and he was telling me the same, maybe you should speak to a specialist. And those are the things that really helped me, like looking for counseling, counseling of the people around me. And another thing that really helped me was just like speaking with friends. And I used to live with Kat at the time. And I remember at the time, moving to their house. And for me, I remember until this day, for me, it was as if I had been taken to a house where there were angels to look after me. And I felt so loved that I didn't have to perform. I didn't have to do anything or to be anyone, but just be there and have people looking after me. And that's exactly what Kat did and my mom did. My mom was like 11 hours away, 11 hours on a flight away, but that was the moment that I felt my mom's love the most in my life. I know she loved me, she cherished my entire life. But that was the moment that I felt like I didn't have to do anything to feel loved. And that all that love that I've received just really helped me get out of the pit that I was in, because it was a really hard place. And I remember going back home. My mom paid for my ticket. I went back home and she said to me, "You're not going away. You're not going back to the UK if you're not well." And I was like, no, this is not happening. So my only option was like, get yourself sorted because you just need to get better. So in obedience, I went and saw the doctor. And just being in a totally different environment, feeling the love of the people around you just made life so much better. The time that I faked everything was okay, it was just making things worse for me and the people around me. But when I took a step to try and get out of my situation, it just made everything better for me. And just seeing, like, when I call home these days, it's not it's not because I'm hurt, I'm broken, it's just like, it's of joy, it's gratitude for my mom and for my friends that everything is okay now. When they watch me through that journey of brokenness, I think it's just so beautiful, to know that you have people around you that just love you for who you are and just embrace you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I remember when my counselor said to me, "You need to take a day at a time." I kind of like, well, what's that? Because I never knew how to do that because I was just always thinking about the next thing. But taking a day at a time, dealing with today, and be like, okay, today is over. And then comes tomorrow, and then you deal with tomorrow. And those little things, I would say, like, I would call them like the little jump. Every little jump that you take, you get you closer to getting out of that hole.
Wow.
And one day you're gonna be out.
Amazing.
And one day you're gonna be like, yeah, I'm back to being myself.
Amazing.
To having all the joy that you had, and you will. So yeah, just take a day at a time.
Thank you. Next time on the 7 series.
I would have really encouraged my sister, if I could talk to her again, to externalise that anger and that rage that she was feeling, that she internalised and took out on herself.
Talking about people knocking down your door, I was trying to hide from everyone. I didn't want anyone to know. Like, my family knew, but I didn't really want anyone to know.
Yes, there was a certain amount of what Jen said before, a bravery when you just turn to a friend and go, help, because we've all said before that when we're happy to be that person for someone else.
Yes.